It was a cold, stormy night when it all began. Two teenagers, no older than 15, sat hunched over their computers in a dimly lit basement. Their real names, irrelevant. Their world knew them as Kraker and Default, two geniuses who had done what others had only fantasized about. They weren't ordinary teenagers. They were digital warriors wielding lines of code like swords, navigating a world hidden beneath the surface of the internet. The CIA, one of the world's most powerful intelligence agencies, had no idea that on this very night, in a quiet suburban neighborhood, two kids were about to breach their most guarded systems. It wasn't for money, not even fame. It was for the thrill of the impossible. Kraker was the mind behind the plan, a brilliant strategist with an uncanny ability to dissect problems, peeling them away layer by layer until only the solution remained. Her screen illuminated her face. Her fingers danced across the keyboard, every keystroke perfectly calculated. She wasn't just typing. She was crafting a digital symphony, and every note was taking her one step closer to penetrating the unbreachable. Default, on the other hand, was the executioner. His specialty, writing code faster than most people could think. Default's eyes, sharp and focused, scanned lines of complex programming. With a quick swipe of his hand, he manipulated firewalls and encryption codes like they were mere puzzles, hacking his way through the defenses that protected the world's deepest secrets. Together, they were unstoppable. It hadn't always been this way. Just a few months ago, Kraker and Default were regular kids with regular problems at school, homework, and a love for all things technology. But what had started as a harmless hobby turned into something far more dangerous when they stumbled upon a vulnerability in a government server. At first, it was just an experiment, a test of skill, but soon they realized that they could push their abilities further than they had ever imagined. One night after school, they found themselves in possession of a classified file by accident. They hadn't meant to steal it, but there it was, sitting on Default's screen. Sensitive data that wasn't meant for anyone's eyes, let alone two teenagers from the middle of nowhere. It was a moment of silence, a breath held in collective anticipation. Kraker broke the tension with a smirk. So, we just hacked the CIA? Default's eyes widened, but there was no fear, just excitement. The thrill of what they had accomplished was intoxicating. Kraker and Default were no longer kids playing with code. They were now players in a game much bigger than themselves, and every move they made from that point on was a step further into uncharted territory. Weeks passed, and they continued their digital dance, slipping in and out of high-security networks, collecting fragments of data and piecing together the puzzle of the CIA's top-secret projects. They knew they were being reckless, but the adrenaline was addictive. The deeper they went, the more powerful they felt. They were invisible ghosts in the machine. But even ghosts can be hunted. The CIA's cybersecurity division had noticed unusual activity. A breach, subtle yet persistent, was gnawing at their systems. At first, they assumed it was a sophisticated group of cyber terrorists. But when they traced the intrusion back to a small IP address in the middle of suburban America, they were stunned. Two teenagers? Impossible. But the evidence was undeniable. Kraker and Default had outsmarted some of the best minds in the world, and now the full force of the CIA was coming for them. It was only a matter of time before the knock came at their doors. Kraker and Default knew the game was up. They could hear the sirens in the distance, the sound of approaching cars, the lights flashing through their windows. But instead of running, they did what they did best. They hacked. In the final moments before the inevitable, they launched their ultimate attack. They didn't hack for destruction, nor for fame. No, Kraker and Default wanted the world to know the truth about what they had found. With a few final keystrokes, they uploaded the classified information onto a secure platform, ensuring that it would reach the public before the CIA could erase their tracks. The door to their basement burst open, agents swarming in, guns drawn, voices shouting commands. But Kraker and Default sat calmly, their screens now dark, their mission complete. As they were led away in handcuffs, Kraker glanced at Default, a small smile playing on her lips. "We did it," she whispered. Default nodded, his face still in calm. They knew they would face the consequences of their actions, but they had accomplished something far more significant. They had exposed the secrets of the most powerful intelligence agency in the world, and they had done it together. Their story spread like wildfire. News outlets couldn't get enough of the two teenage hackers who had taken down the CIA's defenses. The public was divided. Some saw them as heroes, others as criminals. But Kraker and Default didn't care. They had made their mark on history.